mine right wrongfully. I let it slip gladly past the hands of my friends to uptie up the time more forcefully. For the bottles are done, we've killed each one, and the table's full and overflow. And the corner sign says it's closing time, so I'll bid farewell and be down the road. Oh, every girl that ever I've touched, I did not do it harmfully. And every girl that ever I've heard, I did not do it knowingly. But to remain as friends, you need the time to make amends and stay behind. And since my feet are now fast, I'm going away from the past. I will bid farewell and be down the line. Oh, every fool that ever I faced, the cause was there before we came. And every cause that ever I fought it full without regret or shame. But the dark does die as the curtain is drawn, and somebody's eyes must need to go. If I see the day, I don't even have to stay. So I'll bid farewell in the night and be gone. Oh, every thought that's strung ain't not in my mind. I might go insane if it couldn't be sprung. And it's not to stand naked under unknowing eyes. It's for myself and my friends that my stories are spun. But the time ain't told, yet on time we depend. And no word is possessed by no special friend. Though the line is cut, it ain't quite the end. So I'll bid farewell till we meet again. Oh, a false clock tries to tick out my time, to disgrace, distract, and to bother me. And the dirt of gossip goes into my face, and the dust of rumors covers me. But the hour is straight, and the point is slit. It can pierce through dust no matter how it's made. So I make my stand and remain as I am. And I'll bid farewell and not go away down. I don't know where I've been so blue. Don't know why. Come over you. You'll find someone new. Don't make my brown eyes blue. I'll be fine when you're gone. I'll just cry all night long. Tell me that it is not true. Don't make my brown eyes blue. Tell me no secrets, tell me some lies. Give me no reasons, give me alibi. Tell me you love me, but don't let me cry. Say anything, but don't say goodbye. I didn't mean to treat you bad. I didn't know just what I had. Oh, but honey, now I do. Don't make my brown eyes blue. Tell me no secrets, tell me some lies. Give me no reasons, give me alibi. Tell me you love me, but don't make me cry. Say everything, but don't say goodbye. I still didn't mean to treat you bad. I didn't know just what I had. Oh, but honey, now I do. Don't make my brown eyes. Don't make my brown eyes. Don't make my brown eyes blue. Don't make my brown eyes. Don't make my brown eyes. Don't make my brown eyes blue. I give thee all I can, no more, though poor the offering be. My heart and lute are all the store that I can give to thee. A lute whose gentle song reveals the soul of love full well, and better for a heart that feels much more than a lute can tell. love and song may fail, alas, to keep life's clouds away. At least we'll make them lighter pass, or kill them if they stay. And even if care and moments flings a discord o'er life's happy strain, oh, let love but gently touch the strings, 'twill all be sweet again. Oh, let love but gently touch the strings, 'twill all be sweet again. Greetings, friends. Greetings. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you again on Core on Four. PJ was down, but he's not out. Well, the old PJ channel is down, banned from live hangouts for 3 months. So you get screwed over by someone porn bombing your channel, hacking your hangout and posting pornography, and then you get a 3-month ban for it. You're given about 50 words or something to explain your case to YouTube, and then you just get an anonymous message back. So that's the nature of the beast. We'll continue on, and yeah, we'll see what we'll do. Actually, I'm sure it won't be too much of a problem to sort of post some of the videos here from here over to the other place as well, and just keep the other one ticking over. 3 months seems like a very long time to me at this stage. But yeah, welcome to my new channel, or at least I always had 2 accounts. One was PJ and the other one was Dodo Forever. So I just never used that really, so I just changed that to PJ Encore. But yeah, it's me in the flesh, and yeah, happy to be here. I won't keep this on too long, and just sort of more of a test run really, just to see that everything's coming through okay, and I can just sort of continue on as normal. I was never too bothered about views or subscriptions or anything like that, so it's not too much of a loss in the big sense. Hopefully only about 2 hours of the last hangout came through, so hopefully I can just at least get that anyway, because I discussed some good, well, you know, especially towards the end there, I discussed some pertinent stuff in that, so it'd be a shame to lose it. But look, we can't get too attached to Anderson. I never watch any of my own hangouts back anyway, because listen, I'm here doing it and saying it. But yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, as I say, I'm never too pushed about hangouts or subscribers or views or anything like that. I think the truth will find us in our own good time. And well, pretty much all there is you. So yeah, if you're here, welcome. I'll go into chat momentarily. I just decided, because everything is reversed, restless farewell. You know, this is far from a farewell. This is actually the opposite. So this is a hello and greeting on the new channel, the first Virgin broadcast on PJ Encore. Choose Encore not for any other reason. It just, you know, PJ channel is down for, well, not down, it's just no live broadcasting. So Encore again in French, Encore une fois, again one time. And well, of course, I also understood that we have an apple core or a flat earth core, getting to the heart of matters. An apple has a heart, right? So yeah, nothing more encoded than that. But I wonder what sort of anagrams can come out of this, because the way I look at it now is truth in everything. It's just a matter of the observer or the truth seeker paying attention to the signs. Yeah, so I just call it restless farewell, even though I have opened with that. I'm running, not that I'm running short of songs, but I don't really sing many of these songs on a regular basis. But out of 100 hangouts, I don't think it's too bad with 100 copies, right? Or for the most part. So there's plenty more songs in the sea, but in terms of my repertoire, I guess, is running a little bit dry. Now, if I was to sing my own songs or to work on them, I could keep going forever in a day, because I have so many of them, which I rarely play. But again, it would take a little bit of work, sort of putting them together and organizing. Generally, when I write songs or More so when I used to write songs on a more consistent basis. I'd get the music down and then I'd get the basis of the lyrics, you know, so I'd have the structure out and get most of the lyrics down, and then I'd tend to leave it there and move on to the next one. I have a box with over 100 of those micro cassettes, right, which are 3 hours each side. And if you do the double time, I think you have 6 hours, that sort of thing. I have 100 of those. No one's ever heard them. I haven't even heard them myself in years, some of them, most of them. But yeah, all just filled for the most part with my own original songs. That's a lot of songs, right? I reckon if I had to, I could put out about 10 albums in 6 months. There's just so many back songs there, once again, that no one has heard. So when I sing all these songs, yeah, apologies if for the delivery. My voice is a bit hoarse, actually. I was fine earlier on. But yeah, apologies if they didn't come across as good as they could anyway. Yeah, the first one, Restless Farewell. Spoken about this before. Bob Dylan switched around. This was the last song on his, just before Another Side of Bob Dylan came along. The clue there for you, you know. What was the name of that? I think it was Times They Are Changing album. And here we have Restless Farewell, which is a take on the Irish traditional song Parting Glass, which I'll end the hangout with tonight, as is my custom. So yeah, it's his own take on it. And if we look at the lyrics carefully, well, he's telling a story. So it is his own farewell. I don't think from the sounds of it that he was too happy about it, but this is just what the role called for. So let's just go through the lyrics briefly. And all the money that in my whole life I did spend, be it mine right or wrongfully, I let it slip gladly to friends to tie up the time more forcefully. But the bottles are done, we've killed each one, and the table is full and overflowed, and the corner sign says it's closing time, so I'll bid farewell and be down the road. Oh, every girl that ever I've touched, I did not do it harmfully, and every girl that ever I've hurt, I did not do it knowingly. But to remain as friends, you need the time to make amends and stay behind. And since my feet are now fast and point away from the past, I'll bid farewell and be down the line. Oh, every foe that ever I faced, the cause was there before we came, and every cause that ever I fought it full without regret or shame. But the dark does die as the curtain is drawn, and somebody's eyes must meet the dawn. And if I see the day, I'd only have to stay, so I bid farewell in the night and be gone. Or every thought that's strung and not in my mind, I might go insane if it couldn't be sprung. And it's not to stand naked under unknowing eyes, it's for myself and my friends that my stories are sung. But the time ain't tall, yet on time you depend, and no word is possessed by no special friend. And though the line is cut, it ain't quite the end, I'll just bid farewell till we meet again. Oh, a false clock tries to tick out my time, to disgrace, distract, and bother me. And the dirt of gossip blows into my face, and the dust of rumors covers me. But the arrow is straight, and the point is slick. But if the arrow is straight and the point is slick, it can pierce through dust, no matter how thick. So I'll make my stand and remain as I am, and bid farewell and not give a damn. Excellent, excellent parting shot, I guess. So lots of clues. Bob Dylan's a massive clue giver. BD, Bob Dylan 24888. And as I said, just another character. It's a franchise. In one sense, it's it's a legal entity, Bob Dylan. So many different characters can come in and play the role. The guy who's there now, I think he's probably been there since maybe the mid-70s, something like that. But it's definitely 3 or 4. And they tell you as well, if you look at all the cover of Bob Dylan's albums, just like flick through the covers, he features on most of them either in photographic form or else in artistic form. You know, his face in one form or another always shows up. So I think they're providing the information for you to sort of discern this, you know, that there's definitely a change after going on somewhere down the line, if you're bothered. But you don't have to be bothered. As I say, pick an area though, pick somebody and focus on them, because there are so many different clue givers out there. I happened to come by Bob Dylan pretty late in life. I only picked up the guitar when I was 17. And that's one thing I've always just wanted to do. I didn't want to get too deeply into music in any sense, but just to be able to play a song and to write a song, most especially. And these are two things I did achieve anyway. no matter how well or otherwise you might say. Yeah, I just wanted a false clock tries to take out my time. This is exactly what we're living under. We're living under a false clock. All time goes back to the sun. So once we can decide what the sun is, then we can make sense out of time. Time is an anagram of me, it. So I've often talked on the other channel about whole E, spirit. Remember, the E is the three. And we have two sides to us. So if you think about the E, you have the upper, the middle, heart-based, centered, and then the lower. This is what the L represents as well as the lower aspect to it. And this is what the A represents as well, the apex in relation to the V, say. So we have Eve, right? You ever hear the term EA Sports, it's in the game? Well, that's just telling you that this side, E, is leaning towards the upper, right? The haughtier aspects, I guess. The V then is the more material aspects. That's why the V represents the woman. The woman is the female that brings new life into this divided realm. So yeah, all the clues are there for us, and yeah, so many clues given by Bob Dylan. I was actually looking at the video, the original video he did for the song Joker Man, and lo and behold, ARISTARCHUS is to be seen throughout it. So yeah, we have to sort of rethink our thoughts on everything pretty much, but fundamentally I think on the nature of this experience we're all having, on the nature of life, the universe and everything, and we definitely need to be open-minded to and have the ability to probably overturn pretty much everything. If you can do that, then I don't think any of this is too difficult. I really don't. It's just a matter, the difficult part is forgetting and separating yourself from all the thoughts that you hold dear, I guess, and that you count as normal, because there's nothing, absolutely nothing normal. Everything in one sense is wondrous beyond measure. And I think this is what we're sort of getting back to come to appreciate. And yeah, hopefully your personal progression has substance, right? You know, I mean, the answers are there, but you can't stop asking questions. I've often said it before, if you land on flat Earth and you're just still stuck on flat Earth without moving on, without having any idea of the greater superstructure, without having any ideas into the nature of the stars, the luminaries, etc., and into the nature of yourself, well, then you haven't progressed, you know, you haven't, and you need to, for your own sake, I think ultimately we all came in here for the same reason, whether we volunteered, whether we're forced in here. I think it more likely we just volunteered. We are experiencing a state of division and ultimately reunification. And yeah, I think that if we don't sort of work the clues out or work the puzzle out while we're in here, once we leave, I think we come back again. We choose to come back again. So yeah, just to finish up that about time, we are outside of time. The sun is a broken part of a broken system. So it's only because ARISTARCHUS was destroyed that we have the sun, the moon, the stars, the nebula. Last night I matched up the Orion Nebula with ARISTARCHUS. It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. And not just ARISTARCHUS itself. ARISTARCHUS, when we look at the moon, it's the biggest clue we can ever hope for. It was right there in front of us. All its reflected artifacts, and we have primary reflected artifacts and secondary reflections of reflections within the moon. So yeah, it can all be traced out, and after a while it becomes indisputable. It really does, you know. And yeah, it's amazing. I was just looking at it, and this is from amateur photographers as well, so it's not even stuff that NASA are putting out, even though everything that NASA puts out now can be viewed as a clue for us. So helpful in the extreme. It's just we need the right eyes to see it. But yeah, they just detailed that the Orion Nebula was, I think, my memory serves, 1,344 light years away. Now, I'm not even going to calculate, because a light year, what the fuck does that mean to somebody? But remember, a light second is almost 200,000 miles. So work out how many seconds are in a year, right? And then multiply that by 200,000. Then multiply that by 1,344. That's a shit fucking load of distance, right? And yeah, of course, it's all nonsense. Of course, it's all nonsense. Every bit of it is nonsense. We can't throw it out. We'll just reverse it. You know, everything's so much more up close and personal, so much more up close and personal. But yeah, I already matched up the Horsehead Nebula with ARISTARCHUS, most especially the rabbit ears on the moon, or it's the same, the gaping mouth, I call it, in the clouds. These are all a match. But yeah, the Orion Nebula with ARISTARCHUS and its reflected artifacts, especially around Crater Prince, brilliant, you know. And again, it's indisputable, indisputable. And what I should do is definitely put out a few short videos. I know I have a tendency to talk a lot, and maybe a lot of it gets lost in the meantime, but again, I'm okay with that. I see now clearer than ever the whole arena and the nature of the arena that we're in here. There are people playing parts, and we shouldn't get emotionally attached. We should just look at them as players in the game, and you being the one player, right? So you'll have hurdles to face, you'll have helps along the way, but ultimately you have to walk the path. So yeah, now more than ever, I see sort of an amalgamation between the flat Earth actors and the ball Earth actors, and it's easy to get caught up in it. But I think you should. I think you should definitely take it lightly and realize that there's a greater pathway there for you to walk, to tread, and that is your own pathway. And ultimately, I think everything pretty much within certain confines is knowable. It's just about reading the signs and putting things together in our own inimitable ways. There's nothing new under the sun. And if we see this whole sort of experience in a new light or with new eyes, then, well, it can bring a lot of relief, and it can also bring a lot of progress as well. And that's certainly the way I look at it, and or I'm coming to look at it, and well, coming more and more to look at it. And I think we won't have. There isn't much time. There isn't much time left in terms of this greater game. Whatever happens, whatever happens, maybe Earth as it is maybe always going to be here. But we just once you level up, I guess you have to go through it first of all. Then once you level up, you move on to greater things. Who knows? Earth is an anagram of heart. It's also an anagram of ear, of th. It's also an anagram of ether with the old e. The old way it was spelled, the a and the e connected. So none of these things are coincidence or chance. These are all designed this way. So every word becomes a spell. Yeah, exactly, a spell. And the real magic is in understanding the true significance of the word. Just before I came here, I got banned from Russian vids. I mean, I didn't say anything, just a few things. But the one thing I did ask was, why doesn't he give a name or show his face at this stage in the game? And that's all I asked, and then the next minute I know I'm banned. I think that's a fair enough question. It wasn't meant disrespectfully. I like Russian vids, but yeah, another Bible guy, and again, it's too late in the game for facelessness and namelessness. This is the sort of thing we expect from ball earthers, like, you know, and that wouldn't even prove anything. It would just give a little bit of extra credence, I think. But yeah, banned for that. So no worries, no worries. I'll think about a few things I'll do tonight, and just as I said, testing out the Hangout, hoping everything comes through okay, and we'll see how it goes, or we'll see how long we'll stay on anyway. Let me move on to the next song, Brown Eyes Blue, Crystal Gale. Just as I was singing it, I was thinking about letting the ball go, right? So don't know when I've been so blue, don't know what's come over you. You found someone new, don't make my brown eyes blue. I'll be fine when you're gone. I'll just cry all night long. Say that it isn't true and don't make my brown eyes blue. Tell me no secrets, tell me some lies. Give me no reasons, give me alibis. Tell me you love me and don't let me cry. Say anything but don't say goodbye. I didn't mean to treat you bad. I didn't know just what I had. But honey, now I do. And don't make my brown eyes, don't make my brown eyes, and don't make my brown eyes blue. Yeah, Crystal Gale, CG, all insiders, all actors put before us. The players, some of these people, some of these singers especially are players of many parts. But yeah, it's a live song, and I just threw it in for, because I normally sing 3 songs and haven't sang it in a while. So yeah, I won't speak too much about that. The last song then, my heart and lute. I give thee all I can no more, though poor the offering be. My heart and lute is all the store that I can give to thee. A lute whose gentle song reveals the soul of love full well, and better for a heart that feels much more than lute can tell. Though love and song may fail alas to keep life's clouds away, at least 'twill make them lighter pass or gild them if they stay. And even if care at moments flings a discord o'er life's happy strain, let love but gently touch the strings, 'twill all be sweet again. My heart and lute, anagram, my earth, and Itul backwards is star, so my earth and star. Star, anytime you hear star, it's always and ever in reference, or anytime you see a star, look at how many national flags have a star within them. Anytime you see the word star, movie star, stars in the sky, stars and flags, it's all in reference to one thing, one thing alone, which is ARISTARCHUS, ARISTARCHUS. I'm certain of it. And when I say Aristarchus is the ultimate answer revealed, I mean it. It's everything external, but it's also everything internal as well. And the best way I can sort of wrap my brain around is the decapitated tree of life. This is what we remember at Christmas time when we take a decapitated tree, put it on an X and light it up artificially. This is what we are remembering. So dismember, remember. And yeah, that's my heart and lute, which was a poem by Thomas More. Thomas is the name for the sun. Thomas More, Behemoth was found within Thomas More, but yeah, he was said to be decapitated in terms of the story. So you can see where the queen, the queen of hearts, was always looking for heads to be decapitated, for heads to roll. So the old clues for us, you know. But my heart and lute, yeah, we were recommended by Alice, or were informed by Alice that it was her chat with the White Knight at the end of Alice Through the Looking Glass was the most memorable of all her experiences. So this points out the significance of that. So when we go in and we find my heart and lute, I take that as, I guess in one sense, our consolation to ourselves, or God's consolation to man, or the Creator's consolation to us, right? So there's so much encoded in that, and I'm definitely sure there's much more encoded that I haven't yet seen or figured. So yeah, that's the music out of the way. Let me go in and make sure that everything is coming through okay. And say hello to people. Okay, my head is a bit cut off, isn't it? The top of my head is cut off. Okay, let me turn down that. Turn on the frequency here. Yeah, I think everything's coming through okay. P900 Cool Pick Sandra, how you doing? How you doing? I mean, listen, regarding wrenches, I don't like them, but I mean, if you'd like to have one, let me know. I'll give you one, Sandra. And look, if you don't want it, you can just not use it, or you can just ask me to take it away. I don't want to put any sort of onus on anyone that they have to feel like they need to moderate my channel, or need to sort of call the shots, you know. But in general, the lesser we use wrenches, the better. But I've decided at this stage to have no tolerance for any of the any of the bowlers now, anyone associated with the bowler, the same actors on the stage, I'm not going to tolerate them. So Chris Hayes, how you doing, Chris? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. You were on the Dudes Hangout the other night. That was excellent. I really enjoyed that. Just a walk around through the music festival and all the different acts and all the different talent that was there. So yeah, good. Thanks for tuning in, Chris. And yeah, good to have you here. Michael, Mr. Michael MW, I think you're one of those guys, Michael, aren't you? I don't mean to get you wrong now, so I'll leave you go for a while, man. But anyone I recognize who comes in, I'm just going to ban them myself. Just sticking them now at this stage. Again, they're all in it together, and even though they are playing their part, playing their role, yeah, they stung me when I was probably one of the more reasonable ones to them. I always sort of interacted with them a little bit more, and yeah, it's no big deal, but yeah, I'm sort of sick of it now. I think it's time to up my game. I definitely have to put out, thanks to Sandra as well for giving me a link for Windows Movie Maker. So that seems to be pretty easy to use. A few pictures, a bit of text, a little bit of background music. You can get a good message across in short order. So yeah. I know there's a few. Oh yeah, cool, Sandra. If you're off, take it easy. And you watched the Killers vid. Okay, the video I was referencing. Let me post that. Let me find that first. Chris, you have to look at this, bud. You have to look at this. It tells you so much. Hang on, let me just post the link. Yeah. Here we go. It tells you so much. It's encoded at the very start of it even. They're showing you Mount Meru, right? They're showing you the North Center, a big tall mountain. But there you go. Very interesting band, another insider band. Whether the band themselves know, I don't know, but maybe the producers of the video, maybe the writers of the songs know, and the band are just frontmen. But who knows? Who knows? But definitely, when you look at that video with the right eyes, it's all about flat Earth, but it's more specific than that, and it's all about our origins. And ultimately, yeah, it's all about Mount Meru. Even at the very end of it is very telling, and I definitely could do it a rewatch, considering how far I've come since I looked at it for the first time. But yeah, it's ARISTARCHUS all over it, and there's an avian theme throughout as well, and I think this is important. But that's Spaceman, the Killers. So glad you have a look at that again. Sandra, just keep looking at it. Yeah, there's lots revealed within it, including the fake space and fake satellites, etc. One of the most revealing lines for me was, and especially when you combine the lyric with the look on your man's face as well. Is it Brandon Flowers? Was the line, they say the Nile used to flow from, or used to run from east to west. So they say the Nile used to run from east to west. Yeah, from east to west. And just that look on his face as well. So that was a very significant sort of realization for me that the whole of the map is skewed. And what we consider east and west or north and south is absolutely not reality. Talked about this on many occasions, and indeed was that the reason that my hangout was porn bombed the last time? I think it might have been when I was decoding the Masonic square and compass, all seeing IG, and the light ray scattering. I think good chance that it was. I mean, but fuck them. Like, I have no affiliations to anybody. I shared the link accidentally, and I got nobbled for it. Forgive the choice of words there. I got nobbled for it, but yeah, I'm going to go through that again. I'm gonna definitely have to find some sort of a foolproof way of sharing my whole screen without risk of anyone getting the link, because I definitely don't want to have to set up well, it doesn't matter. I will set up a new channel if I have to, but I mean, I don't want to have to go through that trouble, right? So I'd definitely like to find a way. If anyone has any suggestions, please leave them in the, I know there's no one watching now, but that's fine as well. But if you watch afterwards, please leave them in the chat, just a suggestion how I can share full screen without sharing the link. But yeah, was that part of the reason? I think so. Funny, the last time, just as the place was pornography bombed, as the saying goes, this Chris Truth Seeker guy comes in and starts gloating around. He starts gloating, and just talking about how I think, like, how I deserved it and all this sort of stuff. So what the fuck, man? I haven't heard from him in ages, and suddenly he comes in after my channel got hijacked. What's going on there, like? So I never trust these guys. Chris Truth Seeker, associated with Antonio Subrat, associated with Martin Leakey, associated with Patricia Steer, Mark Sargent, etc. They're all a big troop, and yeah, it's sort of getting difficult now for people calling me a hypocrite. Glowbusters Bob was in Jamie's chat tonight, but you know, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? I think, you know, you put your feelings and emotions out there, but yeah, that doesn't mean you can't relate to people. You can't talk to them or interact with them. You know there's something else going on, and I guess you're sort of happy to leave that at the door without just continually fighting, continually calling people traitors or, you know, pretenders or actors. But you know, we have to call a spade a spade. We have to say it as we see it, and not sort of bottle anything up, or not, you know, fool ourselves, you know. But understanding the nature of the arena allows us to interact with pretty much anybody. That's why I go regularly to Nathan Oakley's channel, even though I know it's all a setup. I know that, but yeah, we are in this arena. We're in this game, and yeah, for the most part, you're free to say what you have to say. So that can't be bad in itself. What else are you going to do? Okay. Yeah, good stuff, Chris. You like some of the Killer songs? Well, they have some excellent songs, yeah. But that one in particular, Spaceman, considering the whole topic here, flat Earth and everything. Yeah, space is a hot topic, a hot potato. So it's aptly named. But again, it's excellent song, and most excellent video as well, because again, with the right eyes, you're able to see lots of stuff there. It opens up, as I say, with Mount Meru, and that's and your man arriving out of an egg, right? An egg kind of cracking open, a Mork and Mindy egg, and there he is with his avian garb, sort of walking through the stage. So yeah, that's definitely one to watch. So yeah, good. That sounds good, Chris. Happy to hear that. All right, you don't watch Nathan anymore? Okay. Everyone seems to be flocking around Oakley now, and I heard Patricia Steer. I mean, if anyone can see true Patricia Steer, come on. I don't think the woman has worn the same outfit twice, but she's never changed her spiel. Again, she's a professional. She's prepared for the role. She didn't just land by accident on any of this. Neither did most of the people. Neither did Mark Sargent. Neither did, you know, most of the people who've been there from the very outset. We can't be continuing to fool ourselves. And the one thing I notice is, like, there, you know, for instance, Patricia was bringing up topics about transgenderism the other evening, and talking about it as if there was never any controversy associated or attached with her and her own sexual identity. Yeah, I think this is a sort of psychological, I'm not going to say warfare, but yeah, I think it's something along those lines anyway. And again, we mustn't be afraid to ask any questions. These things are presented for us for consumption, so we can comment and come out with our own conclusions. But we have to remember, yeah, that these things are presented to us, and those who are making the presentations are always 2 or 3 steps ahead. So that's along the lines we need to think about. But yeah, I don't blame you, Chris. I don't blame you, man. But it's difficult when you're in this arena to sort of stay away from flat Earth. And for me, there's so many few. There's so few things worth watching anymore. Really, that's just in general as well, not just in terms of flat Earth. So few, and the television is desperate. I find everything just childless and stupid, actually, for the most part. And yeah, maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of it. We're always meant to see through the illusion, through the matrix, and see it for what it is, you know, which is a whole load of horse manure. Yeah, me too, Chris. I mean, not to bring any characters, but I just went into Dell tonight, and it's the same old stuff again. You know what I mean? I don't see how you can. I don't see how the individual can be happy without sort of progression. The way I look at it, the honest individual, I'm not casting any stones or aspersions. There's nothing off the table. I'm not going to come along and say, I'm just going to talk about this, and not this. Because why? This is, you know, it's an open search. It's an open book. Everything concerns us. Like, so I'm not going to come along and say, well, I'll talk about flat Earth, but I won't talk about the 9/11, like the biggest non-event of our time. No, that doesn't make sense to me. You know? And well, that sort of, I guess, makes me who or what I am. There's never been any restrictions. I've never placed any restrictions on myself. That's one of the reasons why I like with Jamie as well. I like going on to Jamie's, because there are no restrictions. There are people with their own opinions about what you have to say, but that's natural. That's normal, right? We welcome all sort of opinions and thoughts. Anyone who has any strong opinions definitely should have, you know, should have the ability to come on air and discuss them like we would do normally. But yeah, there's one of the very few places left that there are no restrictions, and that's sort of been the way for a while. And I wonder, has Jamie been sort of reeled and roped in again? I wonder. I mean, I saw Bob again. Nice guys. Anthony Riley was in there as well. Again, nice guys, but they're all sort of part of the same. There's a thread running through them all, you know. So I wonder, has Jamie been roped in? Again, just beware, I suppose, Jamie. Don't lose your individuality. Be yourself, and realize that I think a big umbrella has been sort of thrown over all of us. Get a united front, which is fair enough as well. We're all united in the flat Earth sense, but there's no leaders here. You're your own leader, and you're on your own journey. And as I've said so many times, if you get stuck on flat Earth, well, you haven't progressed, because there's so much there to know beyond that. And flat Earth was given to us on a plate. You should have already made your mind up and have been thoroughly convinced about flat and stationary Earth when you became a flat earther, right? What is this? For me, it's 5 years later. For lots of people, it's 2, 3, whatever, many years later. So you should have already, you know, been settled on the flat Earth side previously. And in the meantime, you can entertain stuff like what's going on in Nathan Oakley's, absolutely, or all the drama between the different disparate sides. But you realize that, you know, this is just going over old ground in one sense, back to square one every new day. And I say purposefully that's been done, but you're not to follow any leaders. You're to continue on your own search. And when you do that, then, well, the answers are there for you. How many will follow? Follow the truth. And you will follow the path that's waiting for you to take. I suppose not many, but what can we know about that? What can we know about anything outside ourselves, really? But yeah, just a reminder that, yeah, that is the case. And again, everything is just coming from my own particular point of view. I can only speak for myself. Yeah, but that is the case. And yeah, if you just got stuck on flat and stationary Earth, you haven't progressed. You haven't progressed. Okay. Yeah, good stuff, Chris. You're sort of you're young enough as well, I think, aren't you? I mean, I think you're in your 30s, aren't you? Your early 30s. So you've been going through deception since just after 9/11. Well, I think that's exactly why it was given to us, was fed to us, full of holes. And it's no coincidence that the internet and this sort of ease of communication came to us as well, in and around, just especially after 9/11. So whatever's going on in a greater sense, whatever greater story has been told, Well, I have my own thoughts on that, and you know, I'm not going to tell anyone what's what, but for me, it's all 34. Yeah, I thought so, Chris. And around. So yeah, for me, yeah, the future is more set than the past. So all it is waiting for is you, the individual, to wake up to the true nature of your reality. Chris says, I'm surprised at how many people have only just got into alternative theories after only just discovering flat Earth recently. Yeah, everyone is at their own stage. And this is in a sense, the role of all the actors, Chris. It's to continually pave the way for the new arrivals. This is why so much or so little progress has been. In general, lots of people, lots of individuals have made progress, but in general, yeah, there doesn't seem to be a whole hell of a lot of progress in terms of the main producers of content. And as I say, I think this is all purposefully designed that way for every new arrival to flat Earth to consider. You know, so this is why the ballers, the returning antagonists, have the same spiel day in, the same objections day in, day out. Yeah. This is just the role they take, and they're stuck at their own gate, if you will, and they're not leaving there. This is what they signed up for. So yeah, the more fool us if we stick around and hang around these characters when we should already have moved beyond them. So yeah. Okay, let me. I don't think this came true on Jamie's yesterday, and there was a lot of interference just when I started to present it. So I'm going to present it myself anyway on my own channel. So I'll just go through that a little. And fair play to Sandra Coolpix 900. She sent me that picture from a couple of years ago, she said, and she just paraphrasing noticed something abnormal about the sun and just took a picture. And the minute she sent it to me, well, it rang bells in my mind. I've seen something very, very similar before, and many times before, actually. But what it did jump out at me as being very similar to was the crater Copernicus. Now, Copernicus isn't particularly important in terms of craters, only considering it's one of the biggest ones, but it's a clue for us. Copernicus is someone that all flat earthers revert to as the instigator of the heliocentric system, and it turns out that that's not the case. Someone called Aristarchus of Samos, right, is who was the first to put the sun at the center and had a spherical Earth and spherical planets orbiting around. We never get to hear about him, but the clue is always in the name Copernicus, cus at the end, Aristarchus, right? There's that association made there, but we never got to hear about Aristarchus of Samos for the most part. I'm not saying every flat earther hasn't heard about him, but the vast majority haven't. I'm absolutely sure of that. We understand that the man didn't exist, so it's a clue for us. But the biggest question should be on your own lips: how come we didn't get to hear about him? The baller should have been shouting it at you, in terms of, look, the heliocentric model was settled 2,500 years ago with Aristarchus of Samos. No, they don't say that purposefully. When you get to a certain point, then you're ready to meet the clue. When you meet the clue, then you understand that history is fabricated for the most part. Then you understand that the literal man, like the literal Jesus, is insignificant. It's just a chimera. It's a representation of something else, right? So to take it literally is to lose the meaning. But we do find out in a real sense, Aristarchus, crater, has been named after this man, Aristarchus of Samos, which is crater Aristarchus. And when you look into that, then we find that this crater is described as the most mysterious object on the moon, which is described as the most mysterious object in our system. So, yeah, all clues for us. And that sets you on a new path, then, if you're up for it. And I guess in one way, I'm cutting through the chase here. It's not about cheating, I don't think, you know. It's not, as I say, I have no affiliations. I have no indoctrination, or not indoctrination, what do you call it? Initiations into any secret societies or any affiliations for that. All I see in my real life is just my brother, who I don't see very much, but more specifically, his dog, Brandy. That's all there is in my life. So I don't have any affiliations, as I say. That's probably the best way of doing it. There's no limitations on me in terms of what I can speak about and who I can speak about it to. So yeah, I'm just going to continue on like that. And when I say Aristarchus is the ultimate answer revealed, yeah, I hold to that. And as I go on, as I learn more and more, the more and more I am certain of that, and the more and more I would certainly continue to say that. So if you're paying attention, yeah, you can pick up the baton yourself and take it from there, make it easy for you in one sense. You know, we're dealing with, yeah, well, yeah, how would you say? We're dealing with a whole new world of wonders, I suppose. But Aristarchus is the source of all the luminaries, as I mentioned earlier on. And the moon is our biggest clue. When we can decode the moon and see it as a fractal reflection, like a kaleidoscopic or a diamond through a diamond, that sort of dispersal pattern we'll get. And this is what's happening. The Beatles knew. The Beatles talked about kaleidoscopes and Lucy in the sky with diamonds. And yeah, once we can picture that, then we're well on our way. The moon is a kaleidoscopic expression, reflected expression of Aristarchus. So it's the same crater, just been expressed again and again from different perspectives, different magnification, etc. I have described it as the most complete blueprint of any object in existence, because every single angle, perspective, magnification is catered for. Every single one. What we have to do is unravel it, like we'll open and close a fan. This is what's pretty much happening, just in 3D terms. And when we do that, and I was just thinking about Contact, the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. Isn't that how they solved the blueprint? So everything was written in 2 dimension. It's only when they wrapped it in 3 dimension did they unravel the actual plan itself. So yeah, that's what we're looking at when we look at the moon. Yeah, I know. I suppose I know many people will just hear the thought and describe it as crazy. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I suppose a certain level of groundwork has to go into it, but I have done all the groundwork myself. When I found the Milky Way on the moon last year, I was going, man, this is massive. This is absolutely massive, and it is. It absolutely is massive. Finding the Milky Way on the moon. When I located, what are they called? The Magellanic, yeah, after Magellan, the Magellanic clouds, which are said to be millions of miles away, or many thousands of light years away, and light years in terms of their span as well. Well, when I located them on the moon, absolutely 100%, I thought all this stuff, you couldn't get any bigger than all of this stuff. But now, well, that's my sort of groundwork, but just through a continuous, that's not even research. I wouldn't even call it that. I'm a fucking shit researcher. Just go at it from time to time, spend a half an hour there, an hour there. And yeah, but after doing that sort of groundwork, I come to find out that, well, this is just another part of the story. This is the reflection we're looking at. So now we can seek out or search out the main source of the reflection itself, When you do that, so after the Milky Way and the moon, I came to realize there's not just one Milky Way, there's 1,000,001 Milky Ways, because we're dealing with the same source object again and again, been reflected and refracted around. So yeah, moved on from there, and yeah, found the source. And yeah, the story is written that way. The story is written to point us towards the source. And yeah, that source, as I say, ARISTARCHUS. So let me just move, let me get on to, let me get on to the, yeah, so let me just say, yeah, I'm not, for anyone outside myself, how the fuck am I supposed to know? Do you have to go to this level of work yourself to satisfy yourself? I think you, yeah, I mean, we want to know the truth, so you need to be sure of the truth. But yeah, not sure if you need to go through this the same. Certainly, you don't have to go through the same sort of time span. But on my old channel, there's a short 15-minute video of the Milky Way on the moon. That'd be a good starting point. Once you sort of wrap your brain around that, then come to do your own sort of comparisons. Yeah, that would definitely be helpful for you. And well, ultimately, it's a stepping stone, and it will lead you on to formulating a greater picture for yourself. So just to say again, yeah, light show, that's what it is. All the luminaries can be traced back to one source, which is ARISTARCHUS. So let me just share the screen. So what I did was, I'm going to be sharing my entire screen this time, but wouldn't you know it now, there's no fucking, hang on now, how do I see? Okay, let me just quit out of this. I'm tempted not to share my whole screen, but I'm not going to do that. I was even thinking, even if I kind of stop playbacks on the live video, you know, the way you can go back and but these people are probably just recording everything. So that wouldn't even help in terms of disclosing the link. So let me just go back here and open this again. And for me, an amazing comparison, amazing comparison. Okay. Okay, here we go. Open with paint. Hopefully this comes up now. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, here we go. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, so I shared this on Jamie's yesterday. I also sent Sandra a sort of a copy, and it's actually better quality as well, Sandra. I mean, this is ad lib here, but you actually have a better quality snap. So maybe I should do a better sort of side by side. But just if you look vaguely at it, and here we go. Let me zoom in a small bit. Just in general, give yourself a bit of time, adjust your eyes, and you know, what's your initial impression? What are the points of similarity? And you know, in terms of a match, how close would you sort of set it? For me, it's 100%. Now, I wouldn't say the match itself is 100%, but for me, I feel I know what's going on here. But even this, let me zoom in a small bit. This, they call it here. I mean, that's an amazing thing. And I mean, I'm not sure if you caught this on video, Sandra, as well, or if it's just a picture. So this might be just a reflected artifact, but just the positioning in relation to the main body itself is pretty amazing. But what I want you to sort of consider as well is, remember I was talking about 2 dimensions into 3 dimensions. We need to see everything in 3 dimensions. So imagine you're looking into a crater. Then you'll sort of get a better idea, or a better sort of perspective on things here. But if we look for a few points of similarity, there's plenty of them. This groove, let me just zoom it down a small bit. This groove here especially, look at this. This is perfect. Look. So just to say again, this on the left is crater Copernicus on, from the moon. And here we have, obviously, clearly the sun. We can see all this, so I'll just remove that. We can see all the spindly, shard-like patterns. And on closer examination, see, they're a pretty close match as well. If we look at a few of the different angles, like here, it's uncannily close, and the reason it's uncannily close, it's not just a cosmic coincidence like the sun being 400 times as big as the moon, but 400 times further away. Not one of those sort of uncanny coincidences. No, there's a direct correlation. We can even see here as well, this little sort of wedge being cut out. Look. So this is what I just showed on Jamie's yesterday, and yeah, yeah, it's not a cosmic coincidence. It's because the both are intimately connected. One is associated directly with the other, and what I could do, or what I should do, is, for instance, crater Tycho. Get a comparison between crater Tycho and the sun here as well. And I know we're going to find similar points of intersection already done in terms of my own groundwork, in terms of my own path here. This is where so I sort of started off with, I made a comparison between crater Tycho and crater Tycho Brahe, right? Another man who didn't exist, another guy who's presented to us, another man who didn't exist and who was said to have been missing his nose. So the idea being is to follow our noses and we will eventually come out. Yeah, this is excellent. This brilliant picture, Sandra. Honestly, this is excellent. It's such a close match. It really is. But I have so many close matches. I really do at this stage. But this is probably the best one. It really is. It's you can see that there is some direct correlation between the two here. And as I say, this is not just wild guesswork. This is for very definitive reason. And yeah, I've expanded upon that, of course. With this pattern, we can see it more clearly when we, okay, let me just, if I open new file, okay, if I open new, that's probably the best way to do it, but I can only bring one on at a time then, isn't that right? Oh yeah, that was an excellent one. I might, oh, can I do that now? Yeah, that was an excellent one. Actually, let me do that now in a second. I'll show you that. Yeah, I'm sorry now. I'm just a bit hesitant because I know I can only bring up one sort of picture at a time. So that means I'll have to leave. Yeah, okay, that's a bit shitty now, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. Okay, I hope that's coming up. There you go. So that's a clearer view of the sun. So when we see it through the atmosphere, or in that capture that Sandra got there, we're sort of obviously seeing a diminished version of it, a more sort of washed out, faded version of it. But this is the consistent pattern associated with the sun above the atmosphere. And you can see all of these spindly spines, if you will, the shard-like pattern. And remember again, yeah, we're looking at a reflection, but we need to, it's a reflection of solidity so we think in terms of 3 dimensions. When we do that, then we're looking into the heart of something, and this is sort of climbing up and around, right? But yeah, these are the shard-like patterns that are associated with the sun. Trace those back to Aristarchus or Crater Copernicus. I mean, it's the same thing. So that's what I mean. The moon is our best piece of evidence ever, you know, in terms of making these comparisons and seeing just how consistent they are. You have to unravel the moon, unwrap it. That's why Stanley Kubrick had the name of the monkey or the ape who discovered the monolith, which allowed for sort of human evolution, if you will, or towards human evolution. He had him called Moon Watcher, and he also had the monolith located within a crater, rather a pit. Remember a pit from 9/11 as well. Yeah, all connected. But yeah, this is a better representation of the sun itself. Right? It's far from circular, as you see, and if you look at the oval shape, they're reminiscent of Crater Copernicus or Crater Tycho, or pretty much any other crater on the moon when you examine it closely, because, as I say, all craters are one crater. When you look at the moon, you're looking at a reflection of the sun here. So the sun is the direct reflection against the barrier. Sorry, it's not the direct reflection. It's the direct reflection of Polaris, right? But the sun is the direct reflection in terms of the moon. The moon is a reflection of the sun, but it's just against a contoured, mirror-like, watery electromagnetic barrier. This is the key, and the barrier has a certain contour to it. And when we bear this in mind, then we can sort of understand somewhat, or we can picture some of the reflective properties of said barrier, what we might see. So, yeah, that's an amazing picture, Sandra, and definitely worthy of, that comparison is worthy of, and that picture is worthy of high accolade, because it's an excellent piece of evidence. It really is. So thanks for that, Sandra. And okay, so that's pretty much just what I covered in Jamie's. Let me go back to that picture again. Here you go. All right, I can just flip through them. So here we go again. Yeah, excellent. This groove here is particularly prominent. Oh yeah? Explain it yourself. What do you think is going on here? It needs explaining. Certainly does. I'm going to do something now. Let me what I'm just doing is okay, hang on. Let me make another comparison for you. Oh, actually, I won't do that now. I'll hang on to that one. But what I was going to do is just to bring up Herodotus, which is a neighboring crater, as we're told, of Aristarchus. It has 2 neighbors, Herodotus and Prince. Now, this is what I call the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Herodotus is the Holy Ghost. because it is a reflected artifact of Prince. It is a phantom, or sorry, not a Prince, of Aristarchus. But what I was just going to do is to bring up a comparison of this crater, Herodotus, which changes from an innie to an outie when you just rotate the picture around 180 degrees. But I was going to compare that to Arcturus, the star that's however many thousands or millions of light years away. Not millions, no, it wouldn't be millions of light years away, but millions of miles away, or trillions of miles away even. But no, I'll leave that actually for another time. I have a few other comparisons that I probably need to just, because I'm limited, it'd be just handy for me now to fucking bring them up on a full screen. Full screen share, but I can't do that for fear of sharing the link. So I better leave that for the next time and go over. That's what I'll do. I'll go over what I went through the last time, because that video is gone now, which was the decoding of the Masonic square and compass. Okay. It's just a bit of a nuisance having to do things one by one, but let me do it anyway. So just to reiterate, this is what I think that I got porn bombed the last time for. You know, it's sort of too close to home, and oh, here we go. So check that this is coming through, by the way. Yeah, that seems to be coming through fine. So I hope you can see my screen now. I think you're a little bit, yeah, there you go, perfect. This is what I was decoding the last time. Masonic square and compass with the G in the center and the all-seeing eye and the light ray distribution. Yeah, I'd say it's almost completely decoded, right? So first of all, we have the square at the bottom, which represents the Earth, right? Mother Earth. Remember I was talking earlier on about the V, Eve, Adam and Eve. Remember, so we have E, and we have the two E's there at either side of the V, right? So this is all significant, and yeah. So the compass, sorry, the square represents the ground, right? And the ground beneath our feet is flat, and there's no other way to, or no better way to map out a flat Earth than by using a Cartesian or grid-like coordinate system. And we can see it here, giving us a sort of, remember your 100th square when you were in school? Yeah, so this is all it is. You have a central 0, 0 origin point, and then you have just your X and your Y axis. This is all it means. This is, look at your local ordnance maps. This is how the terrain is mapped out using a grid-like Cartesian coordinate system. And when you get to like the international level, that we have the spherical coordinate system, and because everything is inversed or reversed, the spherical coordinate system, indeed, looking at the compass here, represents the sky, contoured sphericity, if you will, of the sky. This is the distinction. When we use a Cartesian coordinate, just think of your science copy or science book, or think of your mathematics in school. East to west is left to right, or sorry, right to left. That's all it is. So if this was the center point and you were over here and you were asked to travel east, you don't go anywhere near the center point. You just go in a straight line across, right? That's all it is. You're down here and you want to go east to west, you just go straight across like a chessboard. And of course, in Alice Through the Looking Glass, Alice makes her way, Alice is all of us, makes her way up the chessboard from pawn to queen. And it turns out, well, I mentioned this loads of times, but the white queen, before Alice received her crown as queen, the riddle, there was a riddle presented to her by, or to us, yeah, to us actually. We solved the riddle. Clive Adams will give credit for solving the riddle when he, oyster, he claimed it as oyster. My first guess was lobster, so pretty close. Given a bit of more time, I definitely would have got an oyster. But oyster is the solution. Within an oyster, we find the pearl. The world's your oyster, right? Because it contains the pearl, the pearly gates. Oyster is I star. I star, ARISTARCHUS. ARISTARCHUS is an anagram of Christ's aura. And Cus, C-H-U-S, is a name for another name for Jesus. So, yeah, Christ's aura is perfect. AU is gold. Ra is associated with the sun. So Christ's gold sun, right? Once we get to conspiracy land, if you didn't do it beforehand, you start questioning the reality or otherwise of the man Jesus. And yeah, we soon find out that Jesus in reality represents the sun. Well, that's true, but only in a limited sense. So Jesus, you put the I back in Jesus, you get je suis, which is I am in French. So I am is the name for God, I guess, in the Bible. I am. I think, therefore I am. Yeah, all little clues for us. And yeah, oyster or I star was the solution to the White Queen's riddle to Alice before she received her crown. So yeah, all very pertinent indeed. And once again, my heart and lute, lute etal backwards, my earth and star. All just to reiterate, I just fucking repeating myself a lot of the time now, but yeah, any star you hear, and no matter what context, you know, movie star, stars in the sky, stars and flags, or whatever. Yeah, it all references the same thing. ARISTARCHUS. So it is I star or oyster in the very heart of ARISTARCHUS. So yeah, that is east to west is just anywhere from the right to left, right, vice versa done for west to east, from left to right. South to north is from bottom to top, and vice versa, north to south is up to down. Again, like a chessboard or 100 square or whatever you want to picture it as. So this is the square, and this is what the square represents. Again, the flat and stationary Earth and the Cartesian coordinate system to map out the flat and stationary Earth. Then we have the compass representing the A as well. Remember, I was asking you about the A. Consider the A in relation to the H. Or was I saying that in somewhere else? I think I might have been saying that as a text message, right? Or not as a chat message in Jamie's or something. But yeah, consider the A in relation to the H, or consider the A in relation to the V, right? So we have Adam at the top and Eve at the bottom. So A, it's just a leaning, right? So the A is a higher leaning towards the haughtier aspects. The V is towards the more material aspects. This is what it represents. This is what the E is, right? So we have the E. Let me just do that in red. Is the E. We can see Eve, E-V, E. As I say, Mother Earth, you know, the material, right? Not in any judgmental sense as well, but it's the lower aspects. And this is all in reference to us and our true origins or our true makeup. We're made up of the material and the immaterial being the timeless, the immortal aspect to us. So this is the point. So this is where we have, this is Y3, This is 33. Can you see how it's 33? Right? So fold that back on itself, and we have a half an 8. This is why Jesus died at 33. Simple as that. This is what I was talking about. Russian vids going on about, well, there you have the 33, and yeah, Masonic, you know, just scare tactics. It's a story being told, so you can be scared all you like, but I mean, the story is still the same. It's what it represents. It's what the dodo is. The dodo is the E in one sense. We have the do on one side and the do right on the other side. We are divided down the center. And yeah, so with the E, we have the haughtier aspects, the more baser aspects, and the heart center then, right? So on both sides, and we need to bring both aspects of us together. We got left brain and right brain, right? We need to bring both aspects together. Once we do that, we get the 8 and then spear it down the center. So we have the whole E, spear it, right? So these things are known. And yeah, they make sense. They make much more sense than the literal sort of reading of it, where you're just marred in confusion and you're marred in sort of belief, not understanding. You don't understand anything. If all your truth comes from stories from somewhere else, some other time, it's not truth. It's not truth. You have to garner the truth yourself. And when you do, well, then you'll know it and you cling to it and you hold it dear. Yeah, so we have two sides to us, with the material and immaterial. At the top here, we have the virtues, vices, right? I'm not going to write it in now. And then on this side, then we have the angels and the demons. So we can see why L is L. Mike L. Jackson. Yeah, this is opting for the lower aspects, right? Succumbing to the material, if you will, being follower of Satan. So Satan is just materialism. We remember when Jesus fasted and went into the desert for 40 days and fasted, that he became illuminated. And yeah, he met up with Satan, with Beelzebub, who brought him to the highest mountain and showed him all the earth. I suppose it was Mount Meru he was brought to. And, well, whatever, I mean, it's just story representative, right? But yeah, he was offered all the lands, right, all the material. But he forego it, right, because he saw the greater aspect to himself, the immaterial. So this is all it represents. It's the material over the immaterial. Because remember, once we get back to our prime state, core state, then, I mean, what's the material worth then? Nothing, right? Nothing. You walk over your fellow man for the sake of material gain. Well, there's a price to be paid. There absolutely has to be, because our value is infinite in comparison to any value placed on material goods or whatever. So yeah, that's the Adam and Eve. But yeah, that's the whole E-spirit, Shakespeare. I was thinking about earlier on. You remember Neil deGrasse Tyson and described the Earth as a sphere, an oblate spheroid, and it is. When we look at the Oculus mosaic, we can see that it takes the shape of a rugby ball, which is a flattened oblate spheroid. But he also described it as pear-shaped, right? So Shakespeare, right? P-E-A-R. So Shakespeare, I've often said that the same hands that wrote the Bible, same hidden hand, and wrote the works of Shakespeare in and around the same time when this broken realm came into being, if you will, which, well, 420 years ago this year. You might notice my altered avatar. It's only slightly altered. It still features a dodo, but that's the latest version of the dodo from 2012 from someone called Julian Pendar Hume. Julian calendar, Pender, Arthur, Pendragon, Aristarchus, anagram of C, Arthur, as is. Hume is H, U, and me, right? As in human as well, H, U, man. So, so these are all the clues for us. Yeah, so we have the compass down at the top, which, as I say, represents the, in terms of the physical, right? In terms of the physical, in terms of the external, it represents the spherical sky. Anything spherical needs a spherical coordinate system, which they have applied to the globe Earth. They have the G in the center here, the globe, or the G lobe, right? But yeah, everything is reversed. So now we can apply it to the sky. When we understand the shape of the contour, the nature of the contour, then we can see almost how perfectly the latitude and longitude coordinate system applies to the sky. I think it's great. Or where do we find out the nature of the contour of the barrier? Well, Mark Sargent, the chief clue giver, gave it to us when he picked the Orlando Ferguson, or Orlando Firgo Sun map as his flat Earth map of choice. Well, everything is reversed. So rather than referencing the land, it references the barrier, right? It references the sky. And yeah, we can see when we flip it out, we know that the Earth is flat and stationary. So when we picture a flat and stationary Earth, we can see that the contour of the map itself can be seen to represent the contour of the sky, and that has an external barrier around the north, and then the barrier in which we're under begins low at the north, rises highest at the equatorial points. This is why the equator is the equator, and then lowest again at the southern peripherals. So yeah, that's what the spherical coordinate system applies to. At its highest point, I've said this before, 1 degree of latitude is 111.1 kilometers, or 69 miles, both significant numbers themselves. So yeah, if you can imagine at the equator, 69 mile high, or 100, yeah, just 69 mile high. Here I am in Ireland. If I went straight up, I think I'd meet the barrier at maybe, who knows, 50 miles, 40 miles. Maybe that's excellent. Maybe that's what the latitude gradients is all about. Yeah, okay, I'll think about that now. So nice thought for me. So I've been wondering, how does it... Okay, I'll hang on to that thought. But yeah, if you can imagine this gradual then contour. So just imagine a donut, half a donut, scooped out and just placed over the Earth. So you have something similar, but it's, that's just giving you a rough picture of what's going on there. But yeah, the spherical coordinate system for the sky. And we can see here at the top, if you look at that properly, you can almost see a spiral. It's an ever spiraling inward sort of pattern. It's like a dartboard or the bullseye at the top. This is pretty much what it represents. Okay. Yeah, so that's that out of the way. Let's move. So what's in between the sky and the Earth? Well, we have the luminaries, right? So the G is made, this is what I was going through the last time. The G is made from three distinct movements. So we have a circular movement, a vertical movement, horizontal movement. And I talked about the tides. We have this constant sort of breathing of the Earth. All tides surge from the north. And I got that from a sailor, a ship's navigator who spent his life at sea pretty much. And he told me this. He didn't believe for a minute in the flat Earth. But that's one thing he did tell me. All tides surge from the north. So whatever's going on up north, we have this constant breathing where the water is drawn in and the water is sort of expelled out, just on a constant basis. When they say the moon is responsible for the tides, well, as the sun is the moon, the sun, we can say, is responsible for the tides ultimately. As Polaris is the sun, we can do the same equation, but ultimately it all goes back to Aristarchus. So just to paint that picture again, We have Aristarchus broadcasting from the north center, where it hits the barrier, and not, as I said, there's a bi-barrier, a bi-ball system going on. So what exactly the mechanism of sort of transmission is, I still have to hone in on, but where the Aristarchus expressing hits the barrier, this is what we see as Polaris. This is Polaris itself. Everything revolves around Polaris. We are as constant as the northern star that shines unerring in the firmament. And we'll notice that Polaris is not still. It does small circles in the sky on a nightly basis. We can see that the sun travels in circles on a daily basis as well. We can see the moon does, all the planets do, with slight variations. Again, this is because of the nature of the reflective material, or the reflective surface, which is the contoured watery barrier. So where Aristarchus hits the barrier directly, we have Polaris, right? And the clue is in the name, Polaristarchus. Paris, yeah, Polaris, Paris. I talked about the eternal flame, the liberty flame, representing the heart, what we find in the heart of Aristarchus. And indeed, when we go to Paris, we can find the original liberty flame. In case you didn't know, you can look it up yourself. Yeah, so Polaristarchus is where Aristarchus expressing hits directly the barrier and reflects out. So we experience Polaris, as I say, everything seems to revolve around it, but it itself revolves in small circles. This is the direct point of impact, if you will, or point of reflection of Aristarchus. The sun then is the direct reflection of Polaris, right? So the moon is the direct reflection of the sun. So this is what's happening. Everything goes back to just one source and one source only. And we are in a hall of mirrors, and we are in a light show for all the world. These things are known, and there's clues for us placed everywhere. This is why I call NASA the biggest clue givers going. You know, they really are, really are. But don't get caught up in the drama. Don't think you're great because you've solved something that they've put on a plate for you to solve. No, there's always more to the puzzle than that. So just the way I drew a G there, you can see how it looks like a 6, right? But in code dodo, the G is also 7. So in one sense, G equals 42. 6 times 7 is 42. But if we think about, so if we think about what's going on, we have this, Brandy, he's after coming down off the chair. All right, bud. All right, bud. Okay. Chair, be still. Go on. Okay. Half asleep, the dog. Probably my cue to finish it up. Anyway, so we imagine a giant whirlpool, right? And imagine if something was floating in a whirlpool, what sort of movements would this floating object experience? Well, it would experience a circular movement because it goes round and round, right? It would experience a vertical drop and rise, and it would also experience a horizontal displacement. There we have our G. The number of the beast is 666. There's their 6. That's 666. So for me, beast is the be east, something that's ever present in the east. So it always comes to us from the east, which is the sun. So the number of the beast is the number of the sun, which is 666, and G, or again, just whittling it down to 1G, 3 sweeping movements. That's the way I see it. And there seems to be lots of anecdotal evidence for the dog just farted. Oh man, there's nothing worse than a dog fart. Well, there probably is, but God, you fucking breathe deeper then just to see if it's there or not, and you regret it instantaneously. Oh, Brandy, I smell pig's ears. Oh, anyway, this is sorry. We can't blame him for that, right? So yeah, this is the 666 and what it represents. And yeah, pretty much floating island. This is what the in a whirlpool, right? How fucking strange is all of this? But anyway, this is what I take it the G represents. And we're told as well, to give us a clue, the G is a late addition to the English alphabet. I hold that the English is the first and primary language. And, you know, we can see now that English is being made sort of language number uno in terms of Earth business. So I think, yeah, everything coming full circle, getting back to start again. And yeah, lots of objections to that idea, but that's fine with me. I mean, how many people are specifically coming out and saying that the Earth is a certain number of years old? Well, I'm saying 420 this year. So it's all within these sort of contexts. Yeah, so that's the G. Now, I could talk more about the G, but I'll just cut it short. So the Eye of Providence in the very center already showed the. I should get a better image than that, but like, you know what the eye is about anyway. I already showed the. Let me show you where else you can see the eye. Okay. Here we go. There you go. Look at that. Here's the Oculus mosaic. I've spoken about this before. I actually mentioned this to Bob Global Busters tonight. You know, take a look at it. It's the easiest jigsaw puzzle piece. Here's the flat Earth map for us. That's the easiest jigsaw puzzle you ever did, with about 8 pieces. But it's the hardest one as well, then, without a special, or not special, without the keys that you need to solve it. But right here in the center, we have the eye, and it's the Oculus, right, mosaic. Yeah. So right at the heart, right at the north. So okay, I'm just trying to think where will I go with that? Yeah, basically we have from the outside in. This is the. Remember I said the barrier is low at the southern peripheral. This is where the barrier, the red line is where the barrier meets the waters beyond, meets the land. In. Then we have the Antarctic ice ring. All it is just the sun keeping the ice at bay, right? Where we have the barrier meeting the land, meeting the waters beyond, we have drippage, right? If you think your rainwater just comes solely from recycled earth water, no, that's not true. It also comes through the barrier, and it's electromagnetic barrier. So yeah, this inner layer here, inner circle or circuit, is the Antarctic ice ring, which again we would normally associate this with being Antarctica. This is one of the keys we need to solve the puzzle. Realizing, first of all, well, realize a few things, right? To realize that flat Earth first and foremost, and then we realize there is no Antarctica, and then Antarctic. Remember, everything is reversed or inverted. So we can imagine the Arctic Ocean frozen over, and this is it, frozen over. Then all the northern land masses, if you will, where it's all one land mass, right? The Earth is one land mass, but it's just been inundated with water. That's what the dodo represents, is the changing face of the Earth post-inundation. Saline waters are absolutely alien. Well, not alien to Earth, but not a natural part of Earth. So it was only when the system was destroyed we had this inundation. And yeah, we can think of the northern Greenland here in Northern America, Alaska, northern Russia, all the way over to northern Europe. Here's Europe on its side. These will all slot in nicely because they have borders with the Arctic Ocean. And that's it. That's our key. That'll be planted over the center. And then the second piece you need is the dodo. That's why my avatar there is the current dodo, or I think the final version of the dodo by Julian Pender Hume. And that'll help us to complete the puzzle. Because we have 3 continents left, Australia, Asia, and South America. And the dodo is said to be found with 3 parts. So I'm not going to go into that again. But yeah, next to this ring, we have the tropical Capricorn, tropic, sorry, the equator, Tropic of Cancer, the Arctic Circle, and then inside here we have the barrier, the inner barrier that we can't get to. So everything is going on within this barrier, and here inside here we have Aristarchus expressing, right? So just a cross section of the barrier here might be something like, so rising high at the equator, and then down again to the, I didn't do that right, no, hang on. Down again to the, like a spider. This is where I think Adam A4's spider god comes in. If you can imagine that in sort of 360 degree shape. It reminds me of a UFO. Also an octopus or a spider with the main body in the center and displaying out limbs. So this is what it's telling us, but like that's what I just wanted to point out. We have the eye in the center here, the oculus, and so something within the center is doing the broadcasting. And indeed, when we look through, hang on. Which picture now will I pick? I can hurry up. Where am I? Such a pain just having to do these so carefully. Let me just bring it up. I'll definitely have to get on putting out some short 5-minute videos. Make everything a lot clearer. Yeah, I just might as well go into the source itself. So here we go. So here we have Aristarchus, and as we zoom in, let's make sure that's coming through now. I think that's coming through fine. As we zoom in, there's the eye. There's the eye of providence in the heart of Aristarchus. Now, remember I was talking about the G? There's the G. Everybody sees the 8. But there's so much more to be seen in this. There absolutely is. Is something you can look out for in the clouds. You see this here? That's the gaping mouth. You'll see that in the clouds. It's about paying attention, right? Just about, first of all, entertaining an idea. But most especially, it's about just paying attention. You look beneath this. This is the amazing thing about this. I mean, I don't know how many people have wrapped their brain or how many people are even paying any attention, really. The amazing thing about this, it's the same all the way down. You're looking at a fractal representation, a fractal what's the word? Fractal thing. Let me just show you, like you're going to swear. Now you can see the eye here. Look at how clearly that is. Let me just zoom in again. This is the eye of providence. Simply is the eye of providence. And I pointed out, I'll bring it up in a second, how you can find that in the moon as well. And it's a match. It's a match. There's no doubting it. But this is the eye of providence. But you know, you'd swear that this was this is a crater. This is images presented to us by NASA. So this is a crater on the moon, and you'd swear it was sort of going into the page, right, or into the ground. Traditional crater fashion. Now remember that the moon rolls across the sky, so at some point it's going to be 180 degrees away from that position, and as we turn it, rotate 180 degrees, well, doesn't it look, wouldn't you swear now that that was coming or extending out of the sky, or out towards you, right, out of the ground. This is the Liberty Flame here. This is the Liberty Flame, and it also represents the heart. But yeah, the 8 is pretty clear here as well. Many people can see the 8, but they can't see other things. I guess it's just a matter of, you know, putting time into it. But one thing I notice is the ear. And as I say, heart, so we have the heart of Aristarchus, heart, earth, ether, ear of TH. I said this the last time as well, my brother has an unpolluted, innocent, I guess, innocent eye. He doesn't care about any of this stuff. So he can see stuff that there's no preconceived notions or ideas affecting him. So he has had a few interesting things to say about what he saw. I think Jamie said he saw the horse head. Excellent, excellent. And well, I suggest you as the individual look at it yourself and wonder over it. And you're not coming away from that easily because, as I say, all fractal layers, it's fractal all the way down. You're looking into the very heart of infinity. Or when you flip it the other way, you're looking at looking at the penis and the vagina. That's pretty much what. That's a good way of putting it. You have one which is the jigsaw puzzle piece, and one which is the hole to fill the piece, or sorry, the hole that the piece fills. But yeah, there's the eye of providence here, and just to show you, it's not just one eye, because it's a fractal there. You'll see the same thing over and over again. But just to show you comparison with the I've done this now down here. Just get this. Come on. Here it is. So here's an area of the moon where I located the Milky Way initially, and I spotted this later on. Here's an area of the moon just side by side with the Eye of Providence, as I said, that I just posted there. And when we examine it closely enough, this line particularly here is very telling. Now, you might say that's not. I can see the resemblance, but it's not an exact match. Well, I will encourage you to examine it closely, and you will see. As I say, when we look at the moon, we're looking at the same thing, but from a different sort of different perspective. Just slight variation sometimes, massive variation other times, but fundamentally it's the same thing. So yeah, this is the Eye of Providence, and you know, this all connects in. As I say, Aristarchus, just my way of presenting it in brief terms, Aristarchus is the sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies, all the luminaries. It's the barrier above. It's the earth beneath her feet, right? It can be seen, it's the ether. It's the ether. It can be seen expressing in the clouds, in the air, in the water, in the sands of the beach, in the sands of the desert. But it doesn't end there. It extends within as well. So our bodies are intimately connected, and our body designs are intimately connected with Aristarchus as well. So this is the Eye of Providence, one IB. Remember, if we're in a divided state, we have two eyes, well, that eye is a central eye. And this is where the sort of the cyclops comes into things as well, the one-eyed cyclops. We have one eye above and one eye below. That eye for the female is the vagina. That eye for the male is the tip of the penis, right? So yeah, this is how all encompassing Aristarchus is, and it really is amazing. And this is the eye, as I say, this is the eye of providence, and this is what the Masonic symbolism refers to. There's no doubt about it for me. Absolutely no doubt about it. So let me just go back to the last thing. So this is the last thing I covered the last time, was the ray scattering representation here. So we talked about Jesus. We talked about Aristarchus being an anagram of Christ's aura. Well, monogram of Jesus, or the monogram of the name of Jesus. Let's bring it up. Boom. I'm shown here in two places. I fucking have to go slow now through these. Actually, let me. Oh, here we go. There's two of them there. This will do first. So there we have it. The IHS. Right. Look at the sort of the broken ray-like scattered pattern here, and especially the IHS in the center. Yeah, again, the monogram is the pictorial form of the name of Jesus. So, yeah, here we have Aristarchus in the center, and yeah, this, well, I wouldn't say familiar pattern, but definitely recognizable pattern, as I showed you earlier on with the sun above the clouds. Let me just get that again. It's such an inconvenience now having to do this one by one. Come on. There we go. So we'll compare that with, now I also have another monogram, and great clarification that for me anyway, the code dodo is correct, and it's the ultimate code. While I'm looking for it, is that the IHS? All right, there it is. So just so I see, I just normally should just be able to put these two side by side, and which I will actually get around to doing that. So yeah, here's the IHS again. All right, now let me just bring up the other one. So many pictures here. Definitely need to organize myself a bit better. Or not. Matter. The Isle of Man, yeah. The Isle of Man compares very nicely. I have a side by side with the Isle of Man, just the layout of the land in comparison with this Eye of Providence to be seen on Aristarchus, and well, the match is amazing. It's so close, and I've already talked about that. That's what I meant about Aristarchus being the ground beneath us. You can match up craters in Easter Island, Crater Barringer, especially. Next time I do a hangout now, I'll go through Crater Barringer and side by side with Aristarchus, and it's just undoubtable, you know. It's wondrous to consider it and all its implications. Bucket, I'm just looking for, I'm really finished now. Where is that? Come on. Come on. Here we go, here we go. So look at this then. So look, this is giving the game away completely. So this is the JHS. So that's what I talked about, the code dodo, where the pivotal point is the I and the J. We're also told that the J is a late addition to the English alphabet as well. So these are all clues for us. And yeah, look, there we have a very similar pattern. And yeah, even this outline here, look, can all be traced back to Copernicus, any one of the craters on the sun, Tycho, Copernicus, especially because they're the two biggest and clearest. But there are bigger ones, and there are clearer clues for us. But yeah, there's no doubt that this is what it's referring to. And yeah, so we have the J in place of the H. So they're making that equation between both. So the code dodo again, A is equal to 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, G is 7, H is 8, I is 9, J is also 9. Then you go back down, K is 8, L is 7. We can see why that makes sense. M is 6, N is 5, O is 4, P is 3, Q is 2, R is 1, S is 2. Brilliant, because look at the S itself here. But a mirroring gets you a 2, right? It's also an aspect of 8. So I think of in terms of everything in terms of the 8 or the H. So 8 equals H. So as I pointed out earlier, we look with the A in comparison to the H and the V in comparison to the H. It's the same with the S. We can look at all numbers in relation to the 8. This is why 2 is the number of Jesus. So we have 2, an S, and a 2 combined together to give you the 8. But yeah, S is 2, T is 3, U is 4, V is 5, W is 6, like M, water and matter. X is 7, Y is 8, and again, that's perfect, and Z is 9. So yeah, it's great confirmation that, for me anyway, that the code dodo is correct and is the ultimate code. Numbers letter code, and yeah, this is representative of one thing and one thing only. It's the same thing. So let me just go back to that. There you go. So even though there's probably a lot more inside here, and I haven't even looked at it too deeply. That's what I covered the last time on Jamie's channel, and I was certainly on my own channel actually. And before I knew it, then I was porn banned. But you don't get a chance tonight, you little bollockses, because I didn't share the link. So yeah, definitely be more careful in future. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I'll go into chat, but that's just what I wanted to reiterate from the last time, and also just to make sure that everything was coming through okay on the channel itself, which it seems to be. Yeah, I'm not too pushed about subscribers or views or anything like that anymore. It's not the issue here. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and yeah, I'll definitely have it in mind to put out some short 5-minute videos, something like that, just giving a brief outline of pretty much everything. It's not going to be too hard to do. Series of pictures, a bit of text, and a bit of background music should see me fine. So okay, I'm putting myself to sleep at this stage. Okay. No, I haven't, Sandra. I'll definitely have to have a look at your channel here. Have you looked at my sunrise video? No, I'll definitely go through that now. Definitely go through that. And look, now that we have a sort of context, I'm not saying anything is anything. I mean, you do the individual does what they want, but now that we can trace everything back to a source, I think a lot of pieces will start to fit together for maybe individuals like you, Sandra, who's put a lot of time and effort into captures, natural captures, if you will, and maybe didn't have a proper context for everything. That's the hope anyway. And, you know, maybe you'll go through some of your own videos as well, and you'll be able to see things now in a new light that you didn't see before. So, hey, Daniel, how you doing, Daniel? Welcome, man, welcome. I'm just about to finish, actually, but let me give you a wrench there. How you doing, Daniel? Hope all is well in sunny Southern California. I'm sure you're just getting into the swing of things now, but it's 3:20 here, and I really didn't intend to be on for this long. I was just coming over, going through a few of the things that I went through the last time before I was cut off, and just pretty much checking that everything was coming through okay. So I think we're back on track again. And yeah, man, I mean, I probably should do that a bit more as well. Read the chat. But in general, yeah, I suppose in previous experience anyway, there was lots of shills around, and you know, people, if you're in chat, they have their own things going as well, and I generally have some things to talk about. But yeah, I'll definitely pay a closer eye on chat, and yeah, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I enjoyed it, as I said to Chris in Flat Earth Dudes chat the other evening. That was great. It was brilliant. Yeah, just that walk around. Really enjoyed that. But let me just do what Mr. Michael MW. What does the ARISTARCHUS mean? ARISTACHUS mean? I'm not even going to bother Michael. I know you've been doing the rounds, and I'm pretty sure you know what it means, or what I've been saying it means. So if you don't, yeah, you've nothing. There's nothing on your channel. You're just, yeah, there's nothing on your channel. So listen, man, I haven't had too many bad experiences with you, but as I said to Twidwit today, anyone I recognize, P. Mars, Tim Osman, Mark Taylor, any of those guys, anyone at all got to do with the ball, the returning bowler antagonist, I'm just going to ban them myself. I'm not going to ask anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do. But yeah, I'm just sick of it now. I'm not putting up with it anymore. And yeah, your game is up. You best off go elsewhere. You're not finding your answers, Michael, it seems. So if you want to really know what ARISTARCHUS means, go to my other channel, Pete Shea, and just listen in to bits and pieces. I've already spoken about it. I know you're in chat, in Nathan Oakley's and other places, and I know you see my texts, and I'm always talking about ARISTARCHUS. So yeah, I'm not going to take that any further for you. Excellent, Sandra. So I have your channel up here, and yeah, you have some excellent captures. And I think if we just went through your videos alone, we get a picture of a much greater picture of the truth, because yeah, the truth is everywhere. It really, literally is everywhere. Once we have the external story, once our minds are wrapped somewhat around the external story, then we have to focus attention on the internal story. And it's through the eyes. The eyes are the windows of the soul. And the eyes themselves are ARISTARCHUS. They're craters, right? You can view them as if they are craters, and just stare into your eyes and in the mirror, and I think you'll see it. You know, give it a bit of time, and eventually it will sort of click. It's like one of those three-dimensional images that you don't see it initially, but given enough time, it will pop out at you. So yeah, that's the internal story, and it goes all the way into the bottom of your heart. It's a sort of ever generating regeneration. I don't want to think about that now, but it is wondrous. It really is wondrous. Okay. if there's no more questions, then I think I will. Arista Records, right? Is there an Arista record label, Daniel? I mean, you know, what can I say? All clues for us. All clues for us. And this is why I'm absolutely sure there's nothing new under the sun, and everything that we're finding out now is known. It is known, and the story has been scripted as such to allow us a pathway to make our way to the truth about our earth around us, and the truth about ourselves, most especially. Again, if you put your faith in the external, you're selling yourself short. The story is within us, waiting to come out, and it's not without waiting to come in. This is the point. This is why the Bible was waiting for us at the door of flat earth. You know, they still want you to externalize truth, and yeah, don't be swayed by that, right? So Whitney Houston was on Arista. Excellent, man. Aristocrats as well. Youth, who's not here, but Youth is doing a bit of decoding himself. One of the most encoded words he's ever seen, he says. So I'm not surprised at all about that. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Arista Records. If the secret is known and the nature of the game is to provide clues for us, well, why wouldn't you do something like that? You met Dude in the flesh. Excellent, Daniel. Excellent. I said that was a fun time out. Yeah, well, there's not many. What is there? 5 watching, so that's fine. It's pretty late in the evening. But next time, I mean, listen, I'd definitely welcome people to come on for a chat. I know for the most part it's just me talking away, but yeah, next time anyone fancies coming on for a chat. I don't think I've heard you speaking, Daniel. I said it to you tonight as well. I mean, definitely like to hear you. He's great brain, Ute, and he's been sort of a stalwart in terms of the amount of time and effort, passion he's put into a lot of his comments. But yeah, anyone is free to come on for a chat. Next time I'll just extend that invitation to all. Same with you, Sandra. Definitely nice to have you or to hear from you, or you know, there's so many different characters that we don't know anything about. You know, for the most part, you're just going by a name and your imagination. So, but yeah, no pressure or anything, but just putting that out as well. Definitely like to have a few chats. Although, yeah, we're coming into the final stretch, I feel. So I don't think I should sort of stretch out any of these hangouts more than a few hours anyway, because it becomes unwatchable. But again, it depends on the mood, right? If I have a smoke tomorrow and a few cans, well, I could go on for a good while. So we won't take any of it too seriously in one sense. Nice, Daniel. Nice. In your own time, man. In your own time. I've never seen anything untoward from you. And, you know, I do really know that there are genuine people out there. Of course, there are a lot of actors go around, you know, and yeah, this is the pathway we sail, isn't it, to decide who's who and what's what. But no, excellent. Yeah, excellent. So if there's nothing else, I think. Oh yeah, just to mention, you were talking about Arista Records. Well, in the Game of Thrones, it turns out there's this character called. First time hearing about it. Although we all heard about the Game of Thrones and how it's flat Earth related, and the ice wall is represented there, that sort of stuff. Well, one of the characters, whether she's a main character or not, I don't know. It's let me post it in chat here. Arya Stark, right? Arya Stark. So very good, very good. Arya Stark, ARISTARCHUS, right? So excellent. So I'm going to leave you with my usual and say thank you very much for tuning in. I hope it wasn't too And no, that's not the right version of that. I hope it wasn't too much of a chore. But as I said, I didn't come on to do too much. And I'm glad that everything's coming through okay. And well, we're up and running again. So on that note, yeah, thanks again for joining. And until the next time, I'll leave you with the usual. I'm sure you recognize it. It's just a little bit of full circle as well. As I say, the opening song, Restless Farewell, was taken from, by Bob Dylan, was taken from a traditional Irish song, The Parting Glass. So this is The Parting Glass. Oh, the money that I have, I spent it in company, and all the harm that I did, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fell to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you all. Oh, the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should ride and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call good night, and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in town that solely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks, her ruby lips, I own she has my heart and soul. Oh, to me, the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you. My dearest dear, the time draws near when here no longer can I stay. There's not a comfort I leave behind, but it's grieving for my going away. But since it has so ordered been, what is once past now can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you all. If I have money enough to spend, if I had time to waste away, there is a fair maid in town I fair would while her heart away. Her rosy cheeks, her dimpled chin, my heart she has beguiled away. So fill to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you to stay. If I had money enough to spend, I would spend it in her company. And all the harm that I have done, I hope it's pardoned I will be. And all I've done for want of it, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you. A man may drink and not be drunk, a man may fight and not be slain. A man may court a pretty girl and perhaps we all come back again. But since it has so ordered been by a time to rise and fall, fill to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you. Fill to me the parting glass, good night, and joy be with you. Thank you, friends. Good night. Oh well, Steve, I love you.